Hey YouTube. So obviously if you're watching this, you want to get the most out of your Wii Virtual Console titles to try and bring back that old tube TV feeling to them on a modern flat screen TV. So anyways, how you do this is you need a few electronic components from Arcade Forge known as the GBS 8200 or the GBS 8220 and the SLG 3000 and the component cables for the Wii and a couple of VGA cables. All of these will be in the description below. I'll show you how to set it up after. But just a brief description of how all this works is I have the component cables coming out of the back of my Wii and running into my audio receiver, which then passes the component video through into the GBS 8200. Cables are right here. And basically then it outputs via the VGA cable, which unfortunately it's not light enough for you to see. It's right there. Which then runs into the SLG 3000 piece, which is right here. Which is then, because my new TV does not have a VGA port, I'm then running it through a converter, which then converts it to HDMI. And all in all, it gives an absolute great picture. The colors are phenomenal. Just a fun fact here, if you adjust these orange-like knobs right there and turn them all the way to the left, it'll give you an absolute spectacular color spectrum with the Wii. So basically you just run the, assuming you don't have an audio receiver, because let's be honest here, not everyone does, or you just don't want one. The reason I chose to do it like this is because my component cable with the Wii, the audio cables, the left and right sound, are too close to the component video outputs, the RGB cables here, and it couldn't reach into my TV or anything, so this way I get the full sound from my receiver, and I get the full picture through this. But yeah, so basically you could just run the Wii cables into this, and it's really just a plug-and-play solution. It's very much that simple. So now I'm going to skip ahead to the results so you can see what to do, and then I'm going to show you a brief, very brief setup tutorial type thing. Anyways, just 1 second. Alright, so as you can see, the Wii is clearly turned on, and if we zoom in here, you can see there are definitely scan lines running across it, courtesy of these two beautiful pieces here. You can see the GBS is turned on and also the SLG 3000 is turned on. Now a fun fact here, there's a little knob on the side right here where my thumb is, that if you turn it you can actually adjust the intensity of the scan lines as you're going along. So assuming you don't like a dark picture, or you just want a very transparent scan lines that aren't very opaque, then you can do that. However, for the sake of this video, I'm going to leave it on the darkest setting, and that's also what I play it with, just because it's something that I enjoy. And so now I'm just going to show you some of the results here. Give me a second to navigate. I'm going to show you with some of the old school Mario titles first, because, well, those are the ones that you're probably interested in. Possibly the Super Nintendo ones, or the N64. Don't worry, I'll be showing all of them. Sorry, my hand is so shaky, by the way. So as you can see, the colors are absolutely phenomenal. And yeah. It works. There's very little lag time when I press the button. Get a good look here. You can see they're definitely running. Now I'm recording this with my iPhone since I don't have a better camera available to me, unfortunately. And it does not do it justice. However, it does look absolutely breathtaking. Just please take my word for it. The colors are just so bright and vibrant. It's phenomenal. Just 1 second, I'm going to show Super Mario World. I don't know about you guys, but this is a game that really hits home for me. And as you can see right now, the colors are absolutely phenomenal. This is definitely with the scanline generator running. See the little scan lines there, the colors. How there's absolutely no ghosting whatsoever. And it restores it to what it would have looked like on a tube TV, a high-end tube TV at that, because the colors are just phenomenal. Now just for fun, I'm going to turn the SLG 3000 off, which by the way, there's a switch right here, which you can use to flick back and forth between it. You can see this is it running without the SLG 3000. It still looks great through the GBS. However, if you look, it's definitely much more pixelated. The colors bleed into each other, but overall it's still lovely. Let's just turn that back on. Alright, so now I realized that the N64 was not huge with scan lines. It wasn't a necessity. However, it does really bring the games to life when you're talking about old school games from that era. So since I have to play with one hand, I'm going to show Mario Kart in the trial run and not actually in a proper race, because it's very hard to race with only one hand. I hope you understand. This is with the SLG 3000 turned on. I like Koopa Troopa. It's just as you can see, it still runs perfectly. Let's just turn around here. Alright, this scene will work. It's just to showcase all the little details that you can now, if you notice, the mountain is looking very rock-like texture, and from the further you get, the more realistic it looks, and it just has an absolute clarity that can't be matched. That's because the Wii is running at 480p instead of 240p, correct me if I'm wrong, please. Look at the top here, you notice the mushrooms. And Mario himself, since the drivers are actually 2D rendered sprites, it does make a hell of a difference when you're talking about this. Because look, it's just, there's very little detail on him. It all bleeds into each other. It's very blocky. It's still blocky, but it looks nicer. Alright, so now to sum up, you take your Wii and get the component cables. You can get a very cheap pair off eBay for like $6 to $10. That includes shipping, by the way. And if you have an AV receiver that can pass through a component, I recommend doing that, as it will make your life a lot easier. If you do not, you can run, and sorry, then just to backtrack for a second, you then run the AV component into the GBS 8200. However, if you do not have that, then I recommend you run your Wii directly into the GBS 8200, and you have an audio source nearby, maybe a set of like Logitech Z506 speakers, for example. They're $100, and they're not bad. They're not great, but they're not bad. Also, then what you do is you have it run from VGA into your SLG 3000. And assuming your HD TV has a VGA port, then you do not need this little box here. And you just run a VGA port directly from the end of the SLG 3000 into your TV. But if you're anything like me, then you run a VGA to HDMI converter, and that goes into your TV. So it gives you the picture and the sound. And just a fun fact, there's little buttons here that you can use to adjust the picture. Like if you press this one, it brings up a menu. However, mine is currently in Chinese for reasons I can't explain. I'm just going to change that to English. And here you can adjust the picture contrast, saturation, sharpness, and you can return them to default. It really is nice. I do thoroughly enjoy it. As you can see, I've just altered it, and you maneuver with these buttons here. And yeah, display, you can choose the display output. My converter box does not accept 640 by 480, unfortunately, so I have to go to 800 by 600. The scan lines are not as fine, but it still works. Anyways, thank you very much for watching. I hope you learned something. Don't forget to rate, comment, and subscribe below.